Hey guys, I literally recorded a whole another episode and then my camera died and the whole thing got deleted. And I thought about if I wanted to re-record that episode, but I do not because I only want to speak about what I feel in the moment, and that's what I was feeling in that moment, and now it's a new moment. So, I'm going to talk about something else that's been on my mind. Lately, I've been thinking about the idea that I don't think I've done anything from true curiosity and love for a really long time. I think a lot of my life and the things I've created have just been through pain. Like I've just used pain as a motivator instead of pure curiosity and exploration. And pain and curiosity are two separate motivators. They're two different flavors of life that drive you to do certain things or to take on new endeavors in your life. And for me, a lot of my accomplishments and things I've done have just been driven by pain. And I'm only learning that now. I'm only realizing that now because I'm not in pain and I suddenly have to develop new motivators and reasons to keep doing things or to explore new things. And basically what I mean by that is it was a really hard breakup when I was 18 that really motivated me to change my whole entire life. Um, Before 18, I was kind of just coasting. Like, I didn't really have any sort of ambition or any sort of discipline or any concept of what I wanted to do with my time. I did do horseback riding back then, but it wasn't anything that I was able to take seriously just because my parents didn't really support it like that. So apart from that, I just spent time socializing, having friends, paying attention to boyfriends, and that's what my life was before 18. And I guess that's normal, but some people like my twin sister found their passion when they were super young, and that wasn't my path. It was when I was 18 years old where I went through this really hard breakup that basically fueled what was going to be the next 6 years of my life. I'm 20, I'm turning 24 soon, so 24 minus 18, whatever. I don't know how, I can't do it in my head. It's probably 6 years or something. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Yeah, 24. 6 years. Um, from 18 to 24, I I think my biggest driving factor has just been pain. And that breakup that I went through when I was pretty young changed my whole entire life. It gave me purpose, honestly. That breakup gave me a sense of purpose, which is so weird to admit, but before then I had no drive to do anything. But when I went through a really hard situation, that pain just gave me some sort of substance, something to use to push myself to change as a person. And I'm sure a lot of people have gone through that season of life where you go through a breakup and suddenly you gain character and have a personality because that pain is driving you. And that pain drove me for a really long time, and I used that defense mechanism a lot, pain. I was like, okay, anytime somebody hurts me, I'm just gonna use that and up level my whole entire fucking life. Everything I had done and have done from 18 to 24, which is a lot of stuff. I have changed a lot as a person from who I used to be. Everything I've done develop new skills, change what I look like, find new hobbies, like start new things, discipline, mental health, like every single thing was just pain was my driving factor. And not just pain, but like, oh, like I'm gonna prove to everyone that I'm gonna change. I'm gonna prove to the people who hurt me that I'm not the same person. Because I used to hate who I was. I used to hate who I was for a really long time. I don't hate that version of me anymore because I comprehend the notion that I would never have been this version of me without that version. And every version of me was supposed to be, and it's as perfect. It's perfect. Everything that has happened is perfect. So I don't hate on my past self, but I used to really hate the past version of me. So I kind of projected that narrative onto everyone else. I was like, okay, like I hate my past self, and I'm sure the person who left me hated the past me, and everyone like doesn't believe in me. So like I'm gonna change. I'm gonna change my whole entire life, and I'm gonna change myself. And that's what I did. I have successfully done what my 18-year-old self wanted to do 6 years ago. I have changed my whole entire fucking life. I have changed everything about myself. I have changed my mind, my habits, like just every single thing about me is not the same anymore. But my biggest driving factor was pain. That pain pushed me to become more disciplined, to develop new habits, to try new things, pain and like the need to just prove to myself that I can do it. I don't think a lot of what I've done in the past 6 years has been through pure enjoyment and curiosity. And so now I've gotten to the point where like that pain that I was going through when I was 18, or like future pain that I went through like with the new circumstances from 18 till now, like I obviously had more shitty experiences that happened to me, but every single driving factor for me was just pain. And I'm gonna show these people that they're wrong about me, and they're gonna regret it, and all these things. And I my ego mind, like my mind has completely like stopped using the pain I've gone through as fuel for motivation. Like it's almost as if like that story has ran its course. Like the concept of, oh, this pain is gonna push me to try new things. I'm gonna prove to myself that I can. I'm gonna prove to myself that I can live a life like without this person or without that relationship. That whole, because that's a narrative. Like what happens is when you go through anything traumatic or painful, your ego's job is to protect you and start putting forth defense mechanisms. And it will do is start feeding you storylines. It'll give you a new mission for your life. It'll do everything in its power to like overcompensate for that pain you're going through. And for me, the way I compensated for that pain I was going through was, I'm just gonna use all of this pain to change myself as a whole entire person. I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna be smarter. I'm gonna be more disciplined. The people who have hurt me are not gonna recognize me when I'm done with myself. And so that pain and that narrative and that storyline, my ego's mind, like my ego self, like used to fuel me, drove me for a really long time. And it's not till recently where I started to realize that narrative has ran its course. It took 6 years though. Like you'd be surprised if you're very self-aware of like the narratives you tell yourself and the thoughts you have and what's driving you to new seasons in your life. You'd be shocked to see like how long narratives are fueling you for. Like people will live in a storyline in their head for years, and that one storyline is what's pushing them to change or try new things or have the life that they're beginning to have. It's just the ego's way of functioning. It needs like reasons for being, storylines, new mission for the self. And for me, when I went through that breakup at 18, like the first thing my ego mind did was latch onto that as the narrative for me and for my transformation. But after 6 years, that narrative has ran its course. I no longer am fueled with pain. I no longer have like hate towards people or feel pride and feel like, oh, I have to prove to these people that I'm better and I am changing my life, and I have to use this pain to fuel me, because you know, your life moves forward, and when you complete cycles, like, that pain doesn't fuel me anymore. Like, I'm not fueled by pain to go to the gym and change my life, and do martial arts and start competing. Like, a lot of the things I have done in my life were just fueled by pain and insecurity. That's what pushed me to do so many things, and it's what pushes a lot of people. Like, a lot of people's success comes from the fact that they were feeling really defeated, really insecure, and a lot of pain they were going through, and all of that cultivated into this energy to push someone to achieve many great things. But what happens when that pain has ran its course? What happens when that story of that breakup, or those people hurting me, no longer has a charge? I am not resentful or like upset or hateful or angry or depressed anymore. I feel completely content with my life. There is no hardship pushing me to be better or to be more disciplined. It's now just a part of who I am and something I continue to do from a neutral charge, from just, this is who I am now. These are the habits I've developed. And, you know, at this point, I've had to choose to be disciplined. I have to choose to still engage in the activities I've taken on from pain, but from a more neutral point, because there's no like anger in me anymore that's giving me that charge. There's no like redemption story for me. There's nothing charging me to like do all these things and achieve all these things anymore. So what is left? And this has brought me into a feeling, or like a way of living that I haven't had a chance to feel since I was in high school. And when you're not creating from pain, the next thing you create from is pure curiosity and desire. And I haven't had the space to feel these things or create from this place because of how long anger and pain consumed me. Anger, pain, sadness, resentment, insecurity fueled each and every one of my actions for a very long time. It's what I had built my whole identity on at that point. Like, everything I have become in the past 6 years was thanks to the pain that I was put through. But now, all I feel is neutral, no charge. I don't feel pain or anger. I just feel like I am here. And the next thing that I can feel that is coming up for me is just the idea that anything I take on now is just going to be from pure curiosity and exploration and love for the craft. And that's very new for me. I feel this sort of like aimless feeling where, like, for once I get to just be instead of constantly do and climb and discipline myself and have this whole redemption arc for myself. Like, for the first time in years, I feel like my child self again, like my 15-year-old self again, where I just am here. And I just feel like that 15-year-old version of me, but smarter and wiser and more in control. And obviously, the last time I was here in this state of being, I was more so consumed with, you know, romantic relationships, social life. I didn't really have any sort of like longing to find a purpose or an ambition. I was just in high school. I was just a normal high schooler. But I feel that like freedom again, almost. Like, I feel like I'm freed from the shackles of like my pain arc, like my pain storyline that was pushing me for so long. And I just feel like since the pain is gone and the anger is gone, the only thing knocking on my door is pure desire and curiosity, like a kid. And this is a feeling I'm not used to. Like I said, like, I feel like a bit aimless, because I started to think, like, you know, if if pain's not pushing me, like what pushes me? Like what makes me excel if it's not pain and not the drive to better yourself and become a different person? Like what then? And like I keep coming back to, it's just pure curiosity, like a child. I have a fear of this feeling because I feel like what am I if I'm not being driven by discipline? And if I'm only being driven by desire and exploration, it feels a little bit like too freeing, like too like aimless than I'm used to. It reminds me of how I was when I was a teenager, which was just free. And I'm starting to realize that there's nothing wrong with feeling free. There's nothing wrong with feeling like I'm only going to do things that I feel called to do. I'm only going to do things that I like to do. I'm only going to do things that draw up my curiosity. Because before this, I never did anything from curiosity or exploration. The only things I focused on were doing things from discipline, doing things from bettering yourself, doing things to change who I was and to grow. Everything was about growth. And I had taken self-growth as like another fucking identity, and that's not who I am. I'm way more than being disciplined, and I didn't see that or realize that because I had gone from being a bit more reckless as a teenager to, you know, overcompensating with the other extreme, which was like super self-discipline, super on task, super about self-help. But now I'm finally like trying to reach a middle ground. That's what happens. Like life and transformation is like a pendulum. You go from one version of yourself, and when that version of yourself collapses, you go to the other extreme in order to compensate for the extreme you used to be on. So you go from one extreme to the other, and then at some point you like reach a middle ground, and I feel like I'm in that middle ground where I used to be very aimless and emotionally reckless, which is okay. That's how you grow, and everyone's been there at some point. You don't know what you don't know. And then I went from that version of me to a very disciplined, emotionally intelligent, super strict, like self-help, self-growth version of me. And then now I feel like that's not me either. And I'm like, okay, well, I've like overcompensated for 6 years. Like, where's my middle ground? And I'm finally finding that middle ground because I don't have any more anger and pain that's fueling me anymore. So it's giving me space for like joy and pure desire. And so now everything I've been doing has been more from pure desire and less just from anger. Like all the hobbies I've taken on up at this point have been through anger. I wanted to feel strong. I wanted to feel powerful. I wanted to feel disciplined. I started lifting. I started martial arts. I started competing. Like all of that was because I was sad and angry inside. And now I'm like discovering these sports again and in my hobbies again, but through just joy and liking something for the craft itself and not because I'm trying to prove anything to myself. But it's just interesting for me to really look back at my life and realize that I've never really taken advantage of pure curiosity and desire to do something. Everything has always been for the extrinsic validation of it, like extrinsic motivation, the result. So how would this look to others? Am I gonna be able to prove to that person that I'm different? Am I gonna be able to prove to everybody in myself that I'm different? Like nothing really came from like, I just like doing this. Everything came from like this like redemption arc for me. And now that storyline has completed its chapter, it's interesting to see that, you know, life still goes on and the human being always still wants to create. It's just I'm creating from a different source now, from a different energy. For a very long time I created from pain, but what's left when you're not operated by pain anymore? It's just pure curiosity and love. And it's been uncomfortable because I felt like, oh, like am I Am I aimless? Do I have no purpose? Have I lost my ambition? But it's not any of those things. It's just I'm not angry anymore. And I'm not pushing myself to be disciplined or to be a certain way to prove anything to myself anymore. I just do these things because I like doing it. I go to the gym because I like the challenge. I do jujitsu and I do martial arts and I compete because I like learning. I have this podcast and I go and I study psychology because it's interesting to me, and I'm finally starting to change my relationship with a lot of things in my life. But all these things before I did to overcompensate for the hurt I was going through. So now I just feel like I'm entering like a different flavor of life for the first time in years. Pain will push you to do a lot for yourself. Pain will push you to change your life, and it's really amazing what the loss of relationships can do for you. Even people hurting you. Like, I have been fueled by pain so much. I have utilized my pain very well, I think, and pain has been my biggest motivator to change my whole entire life. But now I'm entering the season where pain doesn't motivate me. I'm not using it as a defense mechanism. At this point, what's motivating me is just pure love and curiosity, like a child again. I feel like a kid. When you no longer use loss and anger and sadness to fuel new endeavors, the only thing you have left is pure curiosity. And I don't hear many people talk about this that much because a lot of people online really, and me too, like the only like change I've seen in myself and a lot of people is just due to pain. Pain makes you want to be disciplined. It makes you want to change your life. It gives you a purpose. It gives you a reason to do anything with yourself. And not just pain, but like maybe even proving people who hurt you wrong, people around you, proving them wrong. Like those things are all motivators to change you in your life. But what happens when your life is good? What happens when you're not so angry with that person anymore? What happens when there's no breakup or no extreme circumstance that has like flipped your life over? Like what happens then? What comes of you then? And I realized that the part that made me feel uncomfortable was because, with exploration and curiosity and desire as your motivators, they're a lot quieter and slower. Pain and anger and resentment are really, really loud, fast motivators. It makes you have a very, very clear picture on where you want your life to go moving forward and what you want to do starting today. But with exploration and kid-like desire, that doesn't just appear for a craft really fast. Like, that doesn't just manifest out of nowhere. Like, you have to actually just live your life and relax and go throughout your day to day and let new things find you. And that was the biggest thing with this, because when I realized that anger wasn't motivating me anymore, it was just pure desire, I was like trying to almost like psychologically hack my way into finding a new passion. I was like, okay, like, I just have to do this one activity all the time, every day, and then I'll like it, and then I'll get good at it. And maybe that's where my new passion will lie, and maybe that's where all my energy will go to. But that's not how finding a new you works. That's not how curiosity and desire and a new craft form. When you're trying to develop a new way of living or a new craft from curiosity and joy and not from discipline and anger, it's not fast and it's not loud. It's quiet, and it almost feels like you're doing nothing with your life except living, except being. And I had this conversation with my therapist. I was like, yeah, I just feel like I'm kind of coasting at this point because I have no anger driving me. And I used to have anger driving me all the time. That's what made me disciplined. It's what made me change my life. It's what made me find jujitsu. It's what made me compete. It's what made me do all of these things because I had so much pain and insecurity fueling me. But now that that's not there, what the heck is fueling me? Like, I just have to wait and see. Like, I just have to wait. And she was basically explaining to me, like, there's being and then there's doing. And I've done a lot of doing in the past several years. But sometimes it's okay to just be. And I think when you're just being, that's those are the moments where curiosity and love and childlike exploration are able to do their work. Another thing that I learned with this was whenever you're moving with exploration and love and pure curiosity, it's not so much you doing all the work to find a new endeavor or find a new reason to live or find a new craft to pour into. It's not like you get to find it and locate it. It's almost like you have to live and then let it find you. And that's also something I'm not used to, because again, when I was fueled by pain and anger, it was so clear to see what I wanted to do with my life. It was so clear to see how I wanted to change, what I wanted to spend my time doing, the self-growth little path that everybody goes on. Like, it was a clear mission and a clear objective. I'm like, I want to develop discipline. I want to change my life. I want to change my body. I want to change everything about my mind. And I want to have a 180 shift. And it was very clear on what I needed to do, because anger and pain are very loud motivators. But with this love and pure desire and pure curiosity, it's not that clear. I don't fully know what I want to dive into. I don't fully know what I want to pour myself into. I don't fully know what I want to do with all my time anymore, because I can't just locate it. It has to find me. That's how like exploration worked. My friend was telling me, like, Veda, you can't just like force yourself to find a new passion and find a new way of being. Like, you just have to live your life and then you have to let it find you. And that's something that, you know, I've seen with a lot of people who have found their passion very young. It's not something like they made it a goal to find their passion. It's just they were naturally living life and the passion found them. And it's not like I don't have passions, but I've been changing my relationship with my passions. Like I said, like lifting, martial arts, the gym, like those things were built off of anger and discipline for me, but now they're being reformed in the basis of curiosity and exploration and technique and love and not aggression all the time. And even just the way I even approach my podcast, like everything I do has just changed, because I am operating with new emotions. Going from a version of me that was super angry and resentful and used discipline and self-help to regulate that pain, to now feeling very calm and just at peace, is a very like weird transformation to go through, because I'm very used to channeling a lot of my emotions very fast and direct, but the space I'm in feels more so like creative and soft. And like I said, these take a little bit longer to manifest into like a 3D craft, whereas before, you know, the emotions I was operating under are very fast to push you into new endeavors, but the emotions I'm in feel so subtle and so soft and and I just have to be okay with just living and being, not knowing what my next mission is. Where do I pour myself into if it's not using my pain to make myself better? Like, what then? I guess basically what I'm saying is when you're ready to have the self-help paradigm stop being your entire personality, let me know, because that's where I'm at. Like, I realize, like, you know, you go through phases in life, and it's not like everything about that era of myself was like not real and it doesn't still stand, but I realized like that version of me stood for a period of time because I was angry and I felt small. And if I continue to do these things and be disciplined and, you know, talk about self-growth, it's not going to be from that place anymore. Who are you when pain isn't motivating you? Who are you when your number one driving factor isn't to prove them wrong? Who are you when sadness and insecurity isn't fueling all of your discipline? These are the questions I've been beginning to ask myself, and as I have been marinating more in curiosity and desire and softness and exploration, I've been finding new parts of myself that have just been laying dormant, waiting for me to discover it. Some parts of you can't find until you have maneuvered through your discipline, pain, redemption arc, and that's okay. But I feel like I've finally cracked my hard shell, and hoping I'm finding like that gooey center where it's that softer part of me, where I can find the parts of me that aren't so angry and hateful and sad. I think for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm moving with the emotion of love as my motivator, and it's a different feeling, but it's exciting because it's something I haven't felt since I was a kid. Thanks for listening to this episode, and I will see you guys in the next one.